I thought I had a handle on my life until an unknown woman in a pharmacy flipped my world upside down with 5 words. She went vanished 25 years ago. I'm Megan Porter, and this is how I uncovered the truth about myself. Everything I believed was a lie. It kicked off on a gloomy Tuesday in Baltimore. I was standing in line at Rite Aid, battling a gnarly cold, when an older woman turned around and locked eyes with me. She looked like she'd seen a memory. Her expression shifted, pale and trembling. "You look just like my sister," she said, her voice shaky. I had heard it before. People always say I remind them of someone. My best friend Claire swears I have one of those faces, the kind that gives off a vibe of familiarity, like we might have gone to high school together. So, I flashed my best polite smile, the kind you give when someone throws out a random observation in public. But this woman didn't smile back. Tears welled up in her eyes. "She went vanished 25 years ago," she whispered. That's when my smile faded. There was an urgency in her voice that made my skin crawl. I chuckled nervously, trying to diffuse the tension. What was her name? She held my gaze, and time stretched out. Forever, it felt like. Then she said 2 words that chilled me to the bone. "Your name." The prescription bottle I was clutching slipped from my fingers. I watched it tumble, hitting the linoleum floor with a sickening crack. White pills scattered, rolling beneath the candy display, bouncing off the woman's sensible brown shoes. Neither of us moved to pick them up. "My name?" I stammered, my voice a mere whisper. "Rachel," she said. "Rachel Marie Anderson. My middle name is Rachel, Megan Rachel Porter. My parents always said they named me after my grandmother, but I never met her. She passed away before I was born, or at least that's what I was told. That moment felt like the threshold to something monumental, a collision of identities, a family mystery beckoning me to dive deeper. As the cold washed over me, I realized I was standing on the edge of an identity crisis, torn between the comfort of the past and the stark uncertainty of my future. Did I dare unmask the layers of my existence, knowing it might lead to both heartache and revelation? What would I find if I ventured into the unknown? The fear of what lay ahead clashed with an irresistible urge to find my truth. The scent of rain lingered outside, each drop tapping gently against the window, a reminder that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't just a face in the crowd after all. I was a piece of a puzzle yet to be solved. The woman stepped closer, and I could see every line on her face, every gray hair that had probably turned that color from years of worry. "You have her eyes," she said, "green with little gold flecks and that scar above your eyebrow." My hand moved involuntarily to touch the small scar above my right eye. I'd gotten it falling off my bike when I was 7. My dad had rushed me to the emergency room. Mom held my hand while they put in 3 tiny stitches. I remembered it perfectly. Or did I? "How old are you?" the woman asked. She'd be 32, her voice cracked on the words. She had a birthmark on her left shoulder, shaped like a crescent moon. The pharmacy suddenly felt too small, too bright. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like angry wasps. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears, drowning out the soft music playing from the speakers. An elderly man behind us cleared his throat impatiently, but we didn't move. "I'm sorry," I managed to say. "I think you have me confused with someone else." But even as I said it, something cold was creeping up my spine because I do have a birthmark on my left shoulder shaped exactly like a crescent moon. I'd always thought it was cute, unique. My boyfriend in college used to kiss it and call it my lucky charm. The woman reached into her purse with trembling hands and pulled out a worn photograph. This was her. This was Rachel. I looked at the photo and felt the ground shift beneath my feet. A little girl stared back at me, grinning with 2 vanished front teeth. She had my nose, my chin, those same green eyes with gold flecks. She was wearing a pink dress I swear I remembered owning. "I have to go," I said, backing away. "I'm sorry, I have to go." I turned and ran out of the pharmacy, leaving my prescription, my dignity, and possibly my entire identity scattered on that floor. The rain hit my face like cold needles, but I didn't stop running until I reached my car. The rain was relentless, drumming on the roof like a reminder of all Megan Porter Thompson tried to forget. As she sat in her car, letting the world blur through water-streaked glass, an unexpected memory surfaced, bright and warm amidst the storm. Her childhood backyard, filled with laughter that danced around like sunlight, wrapped her in nostalgia. She could almost smell the fresh-cut grass mixed with traces of her mom's sweet perfume. That familiar scent slipped through her mind's cracks, bringing with it a sense of warmth. But it was laced with shadows. How could something so comforting feel so heavy? The embrace of her mother felt like home, yet it pricked at old wounds, sweet yet haunting. The deeper she dove into her thoughts, the more those hidden emotions bubbled up. It was almost suffocating, as if forgotten secrets were weighing down her chest with every breath. What was she yearning for, and why did that pull feel so constant? That daily routine had spiraled into unexpected chaos. The truth tends to arrive uninvited, especially when you least expect it. Like that random Tuesday. She was just a name, Megan Porter Thompson, or at least that's what she believed. Suddenly, in a fluorescent-lit Rite Aid, she was being confronted by an unknown woman who saw in her a reflection of something long lost. Was she really Rachel Marie Anderson? The identity that felt solid crumbled beneath the weight of her words. This morning began like any other, though the pulse of the rain warned her might hold the unknown. She woke at 7:30 in her cozy Baltimore apartment, a perfect blend of thrift finds and the comforting chaos of houseplants that somehow thrived. Her phone lit up with a waking routine of texts, a dance of expectations from friends and family. Her mom sent goofy cat gifts, while a client quizzed her with vague demands for their logo. Just another day juggling creativity amidst a cloud of student debt, designing for small businesses, and another round of mental gymnastics. She dragged herself out of bed, her art hanging on the walls, a visual diary encapsulating moments and memories. But today wasn't supposed to lead her to an unknown woman's tears and the chilling revelation about her own name. The shadows on her past had flickered to life. What else had she avoided uncovering, and from where would this journey of painful discoveries take her? The answers felt almost tangible, and yet so depressingly far away. The sun shone down, blinding us all in that college graduation photo. My dad stood tall, the only time I'd seen him in a suit. My mom, with her happy tears, beaming at me. Susan and Michael Thompson. The best parents around. Mom fought battles every day as a pediatric nurse at OSU. Dad, an accountant who genuinely looked forward to tax season. Yeah, it's a thing. They'd survived 35 years of marriage, still holding hands like they did in their wild youth. I poured boiling water for tea, hoping the honey would soothe the scratch in my throat. Then, as if on cue, my phone rang. Mom's smiling face lit up the screen, that sweet moment I'd captured during her birthday dinner. "Morning, sweetie," she chirped. "How are you feeling?" "Like I'm wearing a cement hat," I croaked back. "Did you call the doc? You know how you get with bad colds. Remember high school?" I could feel her worry, wrapping around me like an old blanket. "I'll go," I promised. "Good. Oh, and don't forget about Emma's wedding next month. Aunt Karen made sure you got the invite. You know how she gets about RSVPs." Emma was my cousin, and our summers spent on the coast had been pure magic. Sandcastles and seashells everywhere. The Thompson clan was small but close-knit. Mom, Dad, Aunt Karen, Uncle Bill, and their kids. No grandparents had lived long enough to share their tales with me. No warm cookies, no war stories. After hanging up, a wave of nostalgia washed over me as I threw on my dad's old University of Oregon sweatshirt and jeans. I headed to the walk-in clinic. The gray clouds hovered outside, a perfect match for the brewing storm inside my mind. What truths would reveal themselves in this ordinary day, and would I be ready for the answers? The doctor confirmed what I already suspected. Bad cold. She handed me antibiotics and told me to rest up. As I stepped outside, rain pelted the streets, a torrential backdrop to my muddled thoughts. I sat in my Honda Civic, wrestling with the decision to hit up Rite Aid for my meds or crash at home. Responsible mode, activate. 5 minutes to Rite Aid. Piece of cake. Miraculously, I snatched a parking spot right in front. Inside, the ambiance buzzed with everyday chaos. An elderly guy was locked in a heated debate over insurance. A frazzled mom wrangled a toddler while clutching a prescription bag. Just your ordinary Tuesday. I dropped off my script with a pharmacy tech who looked way too young to be working there. 20 minutes, he muttered, not looking up. So, I started wandering the aisles, filling my basket with stuff I didn't need. Chapstick, a magazine on spring organizing, cough drops, just keeping it real, right? If anyone had warned me that my entire life was about to implode in those 20 minutes, I would have laughed. I was Megan Porter Thompson, the daughter with baby pictures, a birth certificate, and a social security number. Solid history, right? But, boy, was I on the verge of learning that histories could vanish, like mirages in the rain. The line crawled forward. I swayed on my feet, ignoring that nagging pressure in my sinuses. The woman ahead of me was buying out half the gardening aisle, gloves, plant food, and one of those nifty hand shovels. She had gray hair in a tidy bun and a cardigan that screamed, "Mom vibes." Then our eyes met. Something shifted. Her expression morphed from friendly annoyance to utter shock, like she'd seen a memory. Could it be? The echoes of recognition hung heavy between us. What was happening here? My heart raced. Was this another twist in a story I thought I knew? Her mouth fell open slightly and the bag of gardening supplies slipped from her hand. "Oh my God," she whispered. I bent down, grabbing the scattered items. "Are you okay? Do you need to sit down?" Her grip tightened on my wrist when I handed her the gloves, surprising me. "You look just like my sister." I stood up slowly, pulling my hand back. People say I have one of those faces. "No," she shot back, shaking her head violently. "You don't understand. It's everything. The way you tilt your head, your nose, your eyes, even that scar." She pointed at the small mark above my right eyebrow and I touched it reflexively. A nervous habit. I got this falling off my bike. "When you were 7, she said, not a question but a statement of fact. "How could you possibly know that?" "Because Rachel got that scar when she was 7. Her voice quivered. 2 weeks before she disappeared. She was trying to ride without training wheels, hit a rock, and went over the handlebars. 3 stitches at St. Mary's Hospital. The air in the pharmacy became thick, almost suffocating. I felt the blood rushing in my ears. "I think you're confused. My name is Megan Porter." "What's your full name?" She leaned in, eyes wide, almost frantic. "Megan Porter Thompson." The words spilled out before I could stop them. "Wait. Megan Porter, Rachel Thompson." The impact of those words hit her like a punch. Her purse tumbled to the floor. "Rachel, your middle name is Rachel." "That's a common name," I mumbled, my own voice feeling alien in my throat. "How old are you?" 32. Born in 1993. I nodded, feeling a heaviness settle in my chest. Rachel would have been 32, born May 15th, 1993. Tears streamed down her cheeks, green eyes sparkling with something broken yet hopeful. She was left-handed. "Are you left-handed?" Looking down at my left hand, still gripping my prescription, I answered, "Lots of people are left-handed." But in that moment, I felt something shift deep within me. This wasn't just chance. This was a storm. Brewing, threatening to reveal secrets I wasn't ready to face. The weight of her realization hung heavy, thick as the rain still pouring outside. What if Rachel's past was my present? What if I was next in line for a truth that could shatter the world as I knew it? The storm inside me raged on, leaving one question echoing through the chaos. What was I going to uncover next? The scent of lavender and old wood wrapped around Megan Porter as she flipped through her childhood album. An echo of laughter lingered in the back of her mind, teasing memories just out of reach. The musty pages opened to a picture of her. A wide smile stretched across her face, wearing a pink bike helmet that seemed impossibly large. The crescent birthmark on her shoulder, just like her mother's, felt like a secret whispering from the past, uncovering emotions she couldn't quite grasp. This photo wasn't just a childhood snapshot. It was a piece of the intricate puzzle of her identity. It sent a pulse of confusion racing through her veins. Could there be more to this picture? Could it lead her closer to unraveling the secrets veiled in her family's past? Suddenly, she thought she heard her mother's voice, soft and distant, sharing long-forgotten tales, mingling with the bittersweet taste of nostalgia lingering on her lips. What truths lay hidden in the shadows of her family's history? As the scent of rain drifted through her window, a familiar tension bubbled to the surface, coaxing her to uncover what had been buried for too long. Megan's heart raced. At the Rite Aid, she met an unknown woman, a woman who sent chills down her spine. "You need to see this," the woman insisted, her hands shaking as she pulled a worn leather wallet from her purse. The air felt electric, pregnant with possibility. "This is Rachel," the woman said, holding out a photograph that rippled with familiar warmth. 3 days before Rachel vanished. A little girl grinned at the camera, vanished her 2 front teeth, wearing that unmistakable pink helmet. The world tilted. Megan gripped the pharmacy counter, disoriented. It wasn't just the resemblance. It was her exact face, her early childhood memories stolen in a fire, locked away forever. The woman's voice cracked, telling the story of a little girl disappearing within 5 quiet minutes. Could that girl be her? No, she thought, desperation creeping in. But doubt gnawed at her. Then how do you explain this? The woman thrust another photo forward, a digitally aged image of Rachel at 30. Megan's breath caught. Shouldn't it be impossible for this unknown woman to know so much? As the world around her blurred, a haunting question lodged itself in her heart. "What is your last name?" she managed to ask, dread sinking like lead. "Anderson," the woman replied, tears shimmering in her green eyes. "I'm Carol Anderson. I'm your sister." The noise in the pharmacy faded into nothing. Megan's grip on reality slipped as the weight of the moment crashed down. Antibiotics tumbled from her hand, breaking apart on the floor, scattering like her shattered understanding of who she was and where she belonged. Pills scattering across the floor like tiny white secrets I could no longer keep contained. I ran out of the pharmacy like the building was on fire. The automatic doors couldn't open fast enough. I burst through them into the rain, gasping for air that wouldn't come. My car was right there, just 20 feet away, but it felt like miles. My hands shook so badly I dropped my keys twice before managing to unlock the door. Inside the car, I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. The rain hammered against the windshield, creating a wall of water between me and the world. I couldn't stop seeing that photo, that little girl with my face, Rachel Marie Anderson. The name echoed in my head like a song I couldn't remember learning. I drove home on autopilot, ran up the 2 flights to my apartment and slammed the door behind me. My reflection in the hallway mirror stopped me cold. I stared at my face, searching for proof that I was who I'd always believed I was, but all I saw were questions. I went straight to the bookshelf where my parents kept our family photo albums when I was growing up. I had copies of some of them. My hands trembled as I pulled out the oldest one, labeled Megan Porter's early years in my mom's neat handwriting. The first photo showed me at my 3rd birthday party. Chocolate cake smeared across my face. A pointed party hat sliding off my head. I flipped the page. Me at Christmas, maybe 3.5, hugging a stuffed elephant. Another page. First day of preschool, age 4, wearing a Minnie Mouse backpack. I flipped backward. Nothing. No baby pictures, no toddler photos, no first steps or first words or first anything. My life, according to these albums, began at age 3. I grabbed my phone and called my mom. She answered on the second ring. "Hi, sweetie. Did you get your prescription filled? Mom, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth." "Megan Porter? What's wrong? You sound upset. Why don't I have any baby pictures?" The silence stretched too long. I could hear her breathing, quick and shallow. "We've told you this before. The house fire when you were 3. We lost everything." "What house fire? Where were we living?" "In California, before we moved to Baltimore." "Where in California?" Another pause. "Sacramento." "What was our address?" "Megan Porter, why are you asking about this now? Just answer me, Mom." "Please." "What was our address? I don't remember the exact address. It was so long ago. You remember everything. You still have the receipt from my first day of kindergarten shoes. How can you not remember where we lived?" "Megan Porter, you're scaring me." "What's going on?" I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. I went to the bathroom and stood in front of the mirror pulling my shirt off my left shoulder. There it was, the birthmark I'd never really thought about, shaped exactly like a crescent moon. I called Claire. "Can you come over right now?" "Jess, I'm at work. What's wrong?" "Yep. Please, I need you." A few minutes later, she was at my door, still in her dental hygienist scrubs. I told her everything, the words tumbling out in a rush. The woman at the pharmacy, the photos, the vanished sister named Rachel, the birthmark. Claire listened, her face growing more concerned with each detail. "Okay, let's think about this logically. It could be a coincidence. Rachel is a common name. Lots of kids fall off bikes in the birthmark, and the fact that I have no photos before age 3 and that my parents can't remember where we lived. Maybe they're telling the truth about the fire. Then why can't they remember the address? Why have they never taken me back to California to show me where we used to live? Why don't I know any family friends from before Baltimore?" Claire bit her lip. "What do you want to do? I need to know the truth." I pulled out my laptop and opened Facebook. Help me find her. It didn't take long. Carol Anderson, retired teacher, lives in Baltimore. Megan Porter felt her heart race as she hit send. The pulse of her emotions drummed loudly in her ears. The screen flickered beneath her anxious fingers, each bright flash reflecting her uncertainty and the desperate need for answers. Outside, the Baltimore streets hummed with life, but inside, time stood still, the air thick with anticipation. Suddenly, a notification pinged. Was it a reply? The question echoed in her mind like a siren's call. What truths lay hidden in the shadows of her past? She wanted to unravel the family mystery clouding her existence, knowing it would change everything. Memories flickered just out of reach like leaves rustling in the wind, their whispers tantalizing yet elusive. Fresh scents of rain drifted through her open window, grounding her in this moment of chaos. After the call with her mom, the revelations pressed heavily on her. Megan rushed to the other side of her small apartment, staring at her reflection, feeling the weight of her birthmark on her shoulder, a crescent moon shadowing her identity. She felt exposed, both vulnerable and powerful. Why did her mother know so little? Clenching her phone, she called Claire, her best friend. "I need you here. Now." Claire showed up in a flash, still dressed in her dental scrubs, concern deepening with each desperate word tumbling from Megan's lips. The story poured out. An unknown woman at the Rite Aid, vanished photos, a sister she never knew, Rachel. Each detail felt like another piece of a puzzle she was determined to complete. Claire took a breath, her gaze steady. Let's think this through. Coincidence, right? But why can't your parents remember that address? Megan stared back, the echoes of her past swirling around them like fog. I need the truth. I have to know. With steely resolve, she cracked open her laptop and dove into Facebook. Seconds turned into minutes as she scrolled, fueled by a mix of fear and hope. There it was, a profile of Carol Anderson, the woman from the pharmacy. Her picture radiated warmth, surrounded by what looked like grandchildren. Beside it, a cover photo burst with flowers, life in full bloom. Megan's finger hovered over an album labeled Never Forgotten. Her heart dropped at the first glimpse, a family portrait that felt painfully familiar. Younger Carol, a man who was probably her husband, a girl around 10, and another girl, wide-eyed and gap-toothed, no older than 7. It hit her like a freight train. The caption echoed the haunting truth. The last photo of our complete family. Rachel went vanished 2 weeks later. Megan's stomach twisted as the realization took hold. The little girl in the picture was her. Claire's voice cut through the shock, barely a whisper. You have to meet with her. Megan nodded, the weight of disbelief mingling with a fierce determination. Fingers trembling, she typed the message. Mrs. Anderson, this is Megan Porter from the pharmacy. I think we need to talk. Days dragged on, heavy and charged, until finally, Megan found herself sitting across from Carol at a cozy cafe on Hawthorne. The moment felt surreal, each breath a reminder of the weight of their shared history. Carol appeared fragile, her tote bag clutched tightly, a manila folder on the table separating them yet connecting their fates. Thank you for meeting me, she said softly, eyes rimmed with red, as if she had poured her soul into sleepless nights. Megan nodded, tight-lipped. Carol began laying out a collection of newspaper clippings, flyers, and police reports. It was an entire life captured in desperation, a haunting chronicle of loss. This was in the Denver Post, she said, pointing at a headline. Local girl vanishes from backyard. Megan's heart raced, the truth looming closer with each word, the deep, uncharted waters of her past now within reach. What would she find as they plunged into these revelations together? We'd just settled into our new home in a neighborhood that felt fresh and unfamiliar. My mind played tricks on me, convincing me that the backyard fence was strong enough to keep the world at bay. But the truth was that it hid secrets. Carol laid another newspaper clipping before me, her fingers trembling. It was about Rachel Marie Anderson, 7 years old, brown hair, green eyes. She wore a yellow sundress adorned with butterflies, left-handed, with a scar above her right eyebrow and a birthmark on her left shoulder. My hand instinctively brushed against my own shoulder. The police first thought she wandered off, Carol said, her voice a threadbare whisper. Then they feared the worst. Someone took her. Her eyes were filled with years of heartbreak. She flipped to the next page in the album, exposing Rachel's first day of school. Her joy radiated, eager to show off her new light-up shoes that didn't quite match her dress. The photo was pure innocence. Each picture turned revealed a vibrant life cut short. Birthday parties, Christmas mornings, a trip to the zoo. Every moment living on in those snapshots. As I stared, my chest felt tight, because in those images, I didn't see an unknown woman. I saw me. This is the last one, Carol said, voice quivering. She revealed a Polaroid. Rachel, all smiles, grinning at the camera with milk smeared on her chin. She captured everything in those early days, and I realized she looked like she might remember something. I don't remember any of this, I barely whispered. You were so young, Carol said. Trauma affects memory. It has a way of hiding in shadows." She reached into her tote and pulled out a little stuffed elephant, worn and faded. "This was yours. Peanut, your favorite toy. You wouldn't go anywhere without him." I gazed at the elephant, and something shifted in my mind. Not a full memory, but a fleeting sense of familiarity. The soft gray fur pressed against my cheek. My daughter Emma found him under Rachel's bed, a week after she vanished. I've kept him all this time, hoping to one day give him back. I felt my heart thud against my rib cage. "But this doesn't prove anything," I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. Carol nodded solemnly. "You're right, but sometimes a thread of memory is all you need to unravel the truth." The room was electric as I held the tiny DNA kit. Was it a key or a curse? "This could change everything," Carol said, her voice trembling. My stomach twisted. What if the secrets buried in my past were too heavy to bear? "What happened to your husband?" I dared to ask. Her eyes glistened. "David lost his battle 5 years back. Heart attack. The not knowing. It consumed him." Each ring of the phone haunted his thoughts. Every knock echoed hope slipping through his fingers. "He would have loved you," she whispered. "And Emma? She's 37 now, married with kids. Couldn't let go of the guilt. Thought she could have saved you." I could feel the weight of what lay ahead, the stirrings of fear. Tremors swept through me as I grasped the kit. 2 weeks, I murmured, to discover if my life is a lie? The sterile scent hit me like a wave, mingling with the fragrance of my father's cologne. As I swabbed my cheek, memories rushed in, a tidal wave of childhood moments. "Megan Porter," she began, hesitating. "Your parents, Susan and Michael Thompson, how they got you." Defensiveness surged. "They love me." But a shadow crept in. How could they never mention Rachel, the girl with my face on milk cartons? "They're good people," I insisted, yet the warmth I felt from Carol pierced through my uncertainty. "Megan Porter," she spoke gently. "If you're Rachel, they've known." My heart quickened at the thought. "We'll have answers soon," she reassured me, squeezing my hand. But a mother knows her child. Her warmth calmed my churned thoughts, if only for a moment. "I never stopped looking for you, Rachel." Those words ignited something deep within me, a flicker of hope in an ocean of confusion. But could I welcome this truth, knowing it might shatter everything I believed about my own life? The countdown to my discovery echoed in my mind. 2 weeks to a truth that could change everything. One gentle clink of that cap rang like a stopwatch, marking the beginning of a journey into the shadows of my own existence. The DNA results hit my inbox 10 days early, like a shot clock buzzing. My heart raced as I mindlessly refreshed my email. 20 minutes passed before I had the guts to click it. And there it was, 99.9% match. I was Rachel Marie Anderson. I collapsed onto the bathroom floor, tears streaming down my face, but not from joy or sorrow. No, this was something raw, tears of dissolution, like I was evaporating into a new version of myself. The hardest part? Facing my parents. On a Sunday, I drove to their house, anxiety eating at me. Mom swung open the door with that familiar smile, but the moment she caught sight of my expression, it vanished. "We need to talk," I said, no preamble. The beige couch swallowed them as I laid the results on the coffee table. The air felt heavy, charged with the truth. Mom crumpled, tears flooding down her cheeks while Dad's energy turned to ash. "We wanted a baby so badly," Mom whispered, her voice shaky. 10 years of trying, heartbreak after heartbreak. Then Michael's cousin called, said there was a little girl who needed a family. The mother, she was a drug addict. "We thought we were saving you." "You knew," I fired back, voice cracking. "You had to know it wasn't true." Dad finally found his voice, a whisper colliding with the gravity of the moment. "We suspected, but we were desperate. You were so perfect, So sweet. We told ourselves we were doing the right thing, saving you from what? A family who loved you? The truth twisted in my gut like a knife. They'd moved from Ohio to escape, changed our names. Michael was Mark, and I was Sandra, I murmured, piecing it together as disorientation washed over me. Year after year, every vanished child poster, every news clip, I was certain they'd recognized me, but they avoided it all. We convinced ourselves you were better off. They loved me, yes, that was true, yet a sliver of betrayal pierced through the haze. How could they say that? How could they escape the truth? Each revelation felt like a storm surging through the room, leaving behind only chaos. But somehow, I was still standing. You can't just erase a family, can you? And with each heartbeat, I felt the weight of not just my past, but every secret they dared to keep crumbling beneath the strain. Megan Porter had always felt like she was living in someone else's life. The laughter of her adoptive family echoed around her, warm and familiar. But beneath that laughter was an aching silence, a mystery that left her heart racing. One afternoon, as she stepped into the sunlit living room, a faded photograph slipped from Claire's fingers, fluttering to the ground. Megan leaned down to pick it up, and her breath caught in her throat. There, looming behind their mother, was an unknown woman, a shadowy figure strikingly familiar. Could this be the vanished piece of her puzzle? A jolt of realization struck her. Could she also be motherless, caught between two families? Those questions twisted inside her, igniting deep empathy for the woman who had loved her first and had vanished into her memories. In the aftermath of uncovering the truth, life took a sharp turn. Sure, Megan's parents had given her everything: piano lessons, support at every soccer game, and unconditional love. But they'd also hidden a devastating secret, removing her from another family who had yearned for her. Carol Anderson spent a quarter-century wondering if her daughter was alive or dead, spaces filled with the echoes of lost hope. As the legal web unraveled, Megan's parents faced charges for custodial interference and identity fraud. Their lawyers argued that Megan had lived a wonderful life, that truth didn't erode the weight of their past actions. Ultimately, they were sentenced to probation, and Megan found herself grappling with conflicting emotions. Meeting Emma for the first time felt unreal. Megan marveled at how they mirrored each other, especially in their laughter. Emma's kids welcomed her without hesitation. "Are you the aunt who was lost?" little Lily asked, wide-eyed. "Grandma said you were lost, but now you're found." The Anderson family embraced her in a way she had never experienced before, a barbecue full of tears, hugs, and a lifetime of unspent love. Megan chose to keep her name, Megan Porter, for her career, but added Rachel for her legal identity. There, in that moment, she became Megan Porter, Rachel Anderson Thompson. A mouthful, yes, but in a world of complexities, it felt right, balancing two identities, finally not just lost, but found, too. The journey was hardly simple. Family dinners turned into careful rounds of conversation, laden with potential heartbreak and healing. Megan Porter's life danced between the Thompsons, whom she'd always known, and the Andersons, who were learning to embrace her again. Therapy sessions became the new normal. They all sought guidance, unraveling the knots of choices past and present. Every Tuesday, she sipped coffee with Carol, the woman who had once lost her, now sharing family history, piecing together stray memories, and sometimes they would reach for Peanut the elephant, a comforting presence reminding them that healing takes time, as they explored the fragments of the life that had almost slipped away. The swing set in the backyard still echoes with laughter. I remember the way David tossed me in the air, the wind whipping through my hair, and Emma's hands expertly braiding those tangled strands. That old Rite Aid down the street? It's become a symbol in my life. A strange landmark. I find myself standing there sometimes, lost in thought. How can a single chance encounter unravel everything you've believed about yourself? Here's what I've discovered. Identity isn't just who you think you are. It's a tapestry of who you've been, who you've lost, and who you choose to become. Sure, I was stolen, but I was also loved. I was lost, but I was alive. All these contradictions don't clash. They layer together like colors on a canvas, creating something intricate, beautiful, and undeniably mine. After my story went viral, strangers reached out, sharing their own struggles with identity and family mysteries. I always tell them, the truth has a way of finding you when you're least prepared for it. It often shows up in the most ordinary situations, like standing in line at the pharmacy on a rainy Tuesday, when suddenly your entire world shifts. If you find this story resonates, share it with someone who needs it. Leave a comment about your own journeys with family and identity. Let's connect over these unexpected moments. Because who knows, the extraordinary lies just beneath the surface of the ordinary.